What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics. We got a fun video today. And this is on CGC forums. I was pointed to this by someone that I talk with on Instagram. And I just thought that this was a really interesting one. Oh man, this was a fun surprise. So here we've got the title of this one: More Fun with CGC Grading. We Marvel Spotlight number 5, 9.8. Now, to start with Marvel Spotlight 5, 9.8. This is a book that technically is the most expensive 9.8 of the Bronze Age. If we jump over to GPA, you can see a 9.8 sold in January of this year for $360,000. This was one of the books that kicked off the comic boom with a $264,000 sale back in 2021, which already seemed bonkers. And then it sold for $100,000 more 3 years later. Now, the crazy thing is, back when this $264,000 sale happened, there were only 4 9/8. Now there are 6, because there was a new one added right around this 2024 sale, and a new one just got added. So we jump over to the CGC forums. I always want to make sure I give credit to the forums. Like, I never try to take credit away from the forums on stuff, even though some people seem to like to come after me for that. But we had this post here from MP Langer where it says, "What the ever-loving heck, and check out the rest of this order, shake my head." And it's this, I don't know how they got this cert number. Like, if they're just like plugging in cert numbers, because usually the only way you're going to get a cert number for a book like this, if it's up on an auction house, like if it's already up for sale. So I don't know how they got this cert number, but if we jump over to the CGC certification, you can see here Marvel Spotlight 5, 9.8, very small, very light spine stress lines. Now the reason, and now you can see here that there's 6 here. The reason this got so much attention is because there is no way that this book is a 9.8. And you can see that is the discussion going on here. This is also just a wild submission. There are 2 Tomb of Dracula 10 9.8s in here. There's a Ghost Rider 1 9.8 in here. There's a Strange Tales 169 9.6. And there are 2 other Marvel Spotlight 5s. There's a 9.4 and a 9.2. And that's what is going to come into play here. So when we start going, this is one of my favorite little memes there. But then based on the cover alone, is it even a 9.4? And then you've got some people posting pictures of the flaws that are on here, like this tear right here. We've got what could be a printer crease over here. It's hard to tell if that one's a crease or a printer crease. There's some other flaws too. And so we can take a look here. If we zoom in on this one, here's that split, which immediately you're like, no way is this a 9.8. Then we start going down like little bits of spine wear. There's this like creasing, whatever's going on down here. You go over to the right edge. Here's that crease right there. And then you go on the side. There's this little crease right here. Like, I mean, I was looking at this book and I'm like, yeah, it's nice, but like 9.2. That's what I was thinking. I was like 9.2, maybe something like that. Might even be a 9. And then what you do is, you start going through here and we get a post from CGC. CGC is aware of this situation and is working to actively correct it. In this instance, 3 copies of the same book were submitted in one order, and the labels were swapped by mistake after grading. God. CGC takes errors very seriously. Well, they should fix that too then. CGC take errors very seriously. Our customer service team is reaching out to the submitter of this order to coordinate a return and label correction. Thank you, CGC moderator team. Holy cow. Now, we know this happens. We've seen this before where labels get swapped. I'm not trying to make like a CGC hate video. That's why I was hesitant to even make this video, because it's just piling on for the sake of piling on. But this is the type of thing why I know people have talked about, like, is CGC going to change how they number these so that people can't see, what's in an order, which I understand the argument for that. Like, why should me, as like some random person, be able to see all the books that are submitted by someone? But this is exactly why. Because if you go here, and it's insane that we have to quality check CGC. I mean, like that's insane in itself. But if you look at number 7 here, this is part of that same submission. You know, you can just change that number at the end. This is a 9. This got a 9.2. This is the 9.8. So when you look at this book, you're like, oh yeah. Like, I mean, it's got a little roughness done in that corner there. With this book, super clean. I mean, maybe a little thing there, but like not enough for me to say like it's not a 9.8. Like I could say this, like I'd say like weak 9.8, strong 9.6, something, but like this is a super clean book. This is the 9.8. And that's why it's like I said, the other one, it's like kind of looks like a 9.2. And you can see here, staple tear, top of staple. I was looking at this one and I was like, I don't see a staple tear. And now we know why. It's because it's the wrong book. Now the other one looks like it is correct. There was a third Marvel Spotlight 5 in here. Very small, light spine wear, stresses breaks color, very small crease top of front cover. Now this one doesn't feel like a 9.4 to me. Like that's a decent crease. Like that's a generous 9.4. Like I'd say you could get like maybe a 9.2 with that. Like we've got the little like cheat sheet from ETA Nick, and you can get a 9.4 with a 1/4 inch crease. Like I don't know. Like that's close. And I know ETA Nick's guide isn't CGC, but like still, regardless, like that's a generous 9.4 in my opinion. I'd say probably closer to a 9.2, but regardless, yeah, like it's a huge mistake. This book in a 9.8, as you can see here, 300,000. If you average the last 2 sales, even though if this came to auction, I think this book's doing like 150, maybe 200. Like, I think it's going to get wrecked at auction if it ever, if it comes up. But I mean, look at a 9.2, $7,000. Like those types of mistakes should never happen. Never. Like never. I'll say it again. Never. A $300,000 book. What if this person sold them already? What if they sold that 9.2 for $7,000? And now what do they do? Like this was graded over a month ago. What if it's gone? I mean, hey, let's check. Okay, so there hasn't been a 9.2 sale here since then. So because I was going to look for that cert number, because, oh man, like that person would have just won the lottery. They would have bought a 9.8 for a 9.2 price. You crack it, resubmit. Now you have a $400,000 book. And this one obviously hasn't sold yet. But I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, I generally try to give CGC the benefit of the doubt. Like they are the third party grader. We are, because I had somebody reach out to me about this recently. They were asking about a book that was up on eBay. And they're like, do you really think this book is a 4.0? And my general opinion is, if the book hasn't been damaged inside the case, because if you know what I'm talking about there, like sometimes books can shift inside the case and they take damage. If the book hasn't been damaged inside the case, we're paying them so that they tell us what the grade is. If you have a problem with it, fine, don't buy that book. Move on to the next one. If you disagree with the grade, whatever, it's like, that's not the person who's selling its job then to regrade the book. CGC is the one that's grading the book. But like this type of stuff, like swapping a $7,000 book with a $300,000 book is, I mean, completely unacceptable. Like, I mean, I don't even know what, like, I would be furious if I was a submitter just because of the potential of the mistake. So, I mean, I just wanted to put this out there just because I thought this was just so insane that this, like, we've seen these swaps before. We know what happens, like label swaps, and sometimes they're ridiculous where it's like completely the wrong book and you're just like, how does this even happen? Like, where's the quality control here? Like, you can't necessarily expect the person that's putting the books in to be able to differentiate between 9.2, 9.4, 9.8. Like that's the job of the grader. But how does this even happen where a book gets associated with the wrong grade? I mean, insane. Oh my God. Like I mean, CGC is going to probably get ripped in my comments for this video, and they deserve it. Like, this is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Now, I like, if you want to see some other cool books that are part of this, and this like I said, this is a wild submission. A 9.8 Ghostwriter #1. And I looked at these, like, I didn't disagree with any of these grades. They seem fine. Like a 9.8 Ghostwriter 1. Then there was this Strange Tales 169, 9.6. Then, let's see, I think the next two were then there's this 9.8 Swamp Thing, #7, cool Bernie Wrightson cover. And there were the next two were the Tomb of Dracula 10s. I mean, look at this thing, like 9.8 Tomb 10, like a $20,000+ book-ish. And another one. So, like, I mean, it's a crazy submission. Like, it's a bunch of cool books. But like swapping a $7,000 book with a $360 last sale $1,000 book. I mean, all right. Let me know what you think in the comments. I fully expect it is going to be not good, a not good looking comment section. But I mean, like I said, they deserve it. Like, this is terrible, absolutely terrible, unacceptable. But all right, see you on the next one.